Good morning.
Hi, I'm Kim.
I'm Brad.
We're with 626 Ohana, California. Today we have another fun-filled, packed day. When I say packed, sometimes we're trying to figure out when we're gonna have time to eat or shower.
Yeah, it's day 4 of our cruise, and we're moving a little bit today. So
sorry if we're a little off. It's actually the whole ship that is rocking pretty good.
So, well, we have a princess meet and greet.
Yes, and we have some lectures we'll share with you, and it should be fun.
So, let's get going.
Yellow split pea soup. Brad got the same thing. It looks delicious.
We haven't done this the whole trip, but first time of us tasting it while we're eating it. That's really good. Yeah.
I got the salmon for lunch, and it almost looks like a dinner portion. Salmon is cooked perfectly. It's delicious. Sorry, I got really hungry again.
And so what I got was basic burger, fries, and he tried to make a Mickey with the ketchup law. So, got a bite of the burger. Basically, a burger. You know, maybe it's a little bit more done than I like it.
So I got the sundae. It's a mint chocolate chip, ice cream in there, chocolate, and then a piece of chocolate cake that looks amazing.
Yes, it does. And I got the exact same thing.
Okay.
Go figure.
Chocolate and like a macadamia nut pie. It's really rich.
And now
I know, going from one dessert to the other.
they just look too good. We both had to get two.
Good ice cream sundae.
So I'll start with the same order. That's what. It is very rich. So, all right, and then we'll try the sundae here. All right. It's good. It's very minty. So both are very good. I would recommend both of them. So we got back from our lunch, and we got a couple things here. It looks like a book from Travels with Walt Disney. And I don't know what these are. Oh, they're Jelly Bellies. Ooh, cool. A little Member Cruise. Let's see what this says. Assembling our voyage, Walt Disney's signature series of shows got us all on the Disney Vacation Club. Member Cruise team thinking about Uncle Walt and the day he opened the happiest place on earth, and how an actor named Ronald Reagan was among the hosts that opened the day broadcast on ABC, and how that actor went on to become governor, and then president, and how every desk from which he governed was topped with a top jar of jelly beans. And then we were just thinking about jelly beans. So that's how our mind wandered, and how these treats ended up on your bed. We're an odd bunch, but at least you got candy. Cool. So we were talking about rough seas and things, so you can kind of see what we're seeing out here. We're somewhere right around Oregon, around the Oregon coast right now, on our way up. So we've been swaying a little bit today, so if you see our shots a little bit moving like this, is we're trying to compensate. Right now it's not as bad as it has been.
We're going to take a midday break and talk to you about what we saw this morning while it's still fresh in our minds.
Yeah, and there's some things. The reason we're doing this is that Disney absolutely will not let us have cameras in. So we had to go to these events without any cameras. And there's one that we probably been okay to bring cameras in to a certain point, but we didn't feel comfortable doing it. So after we did our princess meet and greet,
which was yeah, it was nice because I was able to do almost like a fast pass before we boarded, and I think it was like 3 people in front of us, and it was really quick.
It was really quick. It went really fast, and then the line seemed to keep moving. So a tip is to do these reservations so you get into these character meet and greets really quick.
And then the other thing, so the first thing we went to was something called ABC Funny, and it was presented by Jennifer Carreras, who is the Vice President of Comedy Development for ABC. So the shows you see, like Blackish, what else was there? American Housewives? Yeah, there was just a ton of everything that was going on now.
So they kind of went through all the shows, but she went through how a show actually went step by step through.
Right, literally from a thought all the way to a pilot. I think 6 to 8 weeks. She said they hear 250 pitches, like a half hour each.
Yeah, of these shows that people wanted to come up with or ideas, and out of those 250.
About 40, she said, actually gets to the point of writing a script.
So where they actually write a script. And from that point, they read all the scripts and go through them. And from that point...
They picked 8 to make a pilot
out of. And I guess when they're making the pilot, they only make so many episodes or what they want to do. And she said very few at this stage are actually picked up for a series run. So we're talking about a series run, like a 1-year contract series run at that point.
So out of those 8... it was 2 that was picked up this year.
For a pilot.
Out of the original 250 that was ever pitched to them.
Mm-hmm. So these are ones that will be on TV and shown on TV, but it's still no guarantee they're going to make it. It depends on their numbers after that point.
Right.
So in this whole thing, we got to do something that was really neat.
Well, and we also got we got to see a whole series premiere, if you will, of a new comedy that'll be out next spring.
That's what I was saying. It was going to be really neat.
Well, it's called United We Fall.
So this is a show that hadn't even been seen outside the walls of ABC. So we were the first people that were not part of ABC or any of the affiliates that watched this movie.
It was a movie. It was a series.
TV show. So we got to see it.
It was it was the whole show. It was completely done, which fascinated me that it's not going to come out until spring.
Yes. And it was we enjoyed it. It was a little bit...
We laughed.
Different in our schedule. Unfortunately, with TV, it's hard for us to keep up on all these shows that are out there, so we try to.
Sports schedules, our work schedule, being parents, a lot of you can understand that.
But as a show with families that have kids and everything, this show you will understand a lot what they're saying because that's exactly what it's geared for.
And there's some relatable things in it.
Yeah, and it was definitely a comedy. It was just about your life as with parents with kids and the questions you ask. Definitely relatable.
Absolutely.
So the second thing we ended up going to was called American Housewife, making a sitcom.
So it was kind of a fun thing. They had Sarah Dunn. Let me real quick. She is, I have to look down, the creator of American Housewife. Now this is a show, okay, I am now sad to say I've never seen this show. Okay.
And I think it's more geared for me from what I was watching of it. Maybe more to women, the mom of the household and the dad, but there's some parts that I was laughing at it too.
Yeah, and they had the kid actors, Julia Butters, and she's just charming and adorable to listen to when they answered questions. Yeah. And then they had Daniel DiMaggio, and so they were really engaging, and they showed us clips. They even showed us clips from the series, or the season finale that's coming out this next week. And it's a musical, and it was good.
It was good. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be funny. Again, it's one of those shows we just haven't watched because of our schedule.
Okay, but now that I know about it, I am gonna try to go back and binge watch this summer the first 3 seasons because it just got picked up for its 4th, so that I can catch up next season. So that is a show, and it was amazing because. Sarah Dunn was telling us about the process of how she casts these kids, characters, how she wrote the story, and it related to her life. And she was engaged. She was fun to listen to, and her story. And she worked on some other shows like Spin City and Murphy Brown.
Yeah, and she actually explained how she was in a writer originally, how she got in Murphy Brown and started writing for these shows. But this is her actually first show on her own, that she went from start to finish of the casting and everything, so she kind of went through that whole process again. And
she talked about how she writes to scripts, to how they get to table readings, to making changes to the final episode.
And then we actually had the vice president of ABC programming there. And it was kind of a surprise thing that I don't think...
All of a sudden she popped up and Sarah Dunn looked a little surprised.
I don't think anybody knew that she was here. She actually got on the ship in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So she explained a little bit what her part of these shows are, to go to
final table reading, because I guess there's kind of a rough...
Well, not just that, but that she has to go and pitch these to the advertisers. Yeah. And they watch them and kind of get only bits and pieces of these shows. So we actually got to see the one we saw before, got to see more of that show, but they get to see really rough of the shows, so the advertisers decide, I want to put my advertisement there or not.
Yeah, and actually that's kind of an overlap of both these lectures.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating, and it was interesting to see how when the VP of ABC programming came in and said, you know, it's amazing because I'm even learning stuff because I see the final table read, and she thought was the only one. And
they actually have readings beforehand, so they know what jokes work and don't work, so they can edit everything out where they want it for the writing. So all in all, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like I said, American Housewife, I am now going to be checking out after seeing this.
And another thing to let you know that a lot of these, some of these are in big theater, but some of them, this one was in the Azure.
Yeah, which is the adult lounge.
Which is great, is because they actually have questions. They have people coming around, and you actually ask questions. They obviously went from like the schooling for the kids.
And it was kind of funny, and I'll go off the Daniel DiMaggio. Somebody asked about the kids and going to school, and he kind of played it off like, we don't go to school, you know, kind of thing. Like, I live every kid's dream. And
he was kind of joking off.
He was, but you could see this tense moment almost in the writer and some of the execs that were in the room. You could kind of be like, you know, no, that's not real. You know, that we do make sure that they know things.
Yeah.
And Julie Dunn was like, I'll have to talk to your teachers about taking you know, and played it off of like, no, we do take these kids seriously.
Yeah, and quite frankly, they have schools on the lots for these kids to go into the schoolroom that they go into to learn with their tutors and everything else, so they keep up. So.
But it's kind of interesting being here in some of these different presentations, lectures, is when they have the live questioning, when something seems to go awry, you can almost see this moment of like,
sheer panic.
But they've always recovered really nicely. I've been really impressed on that throughout every presentation we've gone to. And it was kind of interesting because after that presentation we went to lunch at Triton's, and literally 2 tables away was Julie Dunn and Julie Butters and some other people that were all sitting there having lunch. We went to Paula the night before, or our first night on the cruise, and Bill Farmer and some execs and everybody.
And all of them were there.
Yeah, they were
all there, right by us in Paula. So you run into these people on the ship all
as you're
over.
walking around the ship.
They're here with their families for vacations as well.
Exactly, but it's kind of funny. Just earlier this afternoon, I ran into Bill Farmer, and just coming off the elevator, which is kind of surprising. And I looked at him and said, I really enjoyed your presentation and your goofy voices. It was one of the highlights of our cruise. And he smiled. It was just this authentic meeting that you wouldn't have outside of a DVC member cruise. So we still have a jam-packed afternoon. Sea days on member cruise. It's busy from when you wake up to when you go to bed. All right,
so with that, we'll see you a little bit later.
See you soon.
So a swan, some chocolates, and this is the other part of the box set. So it's an original map of Disneyland. We're at the end of our night, and so we'll give you an update on all the other stuff we've been doing since this afternoon.
So another really great presentation we went to was with Tony Baxter's Dream Jobs, and I'll tell you, he started out talking about the rides that he worked on working at Disneyland. He started out with the building of Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, he's a
Imagineer.
He's an Imagineer
who started out scooping ice cream at Disneyland, and on his breaks he would start sketching and stuff, and they said, you don't belong in food, you need to be over in the attractions.
And so he ended up going to college, getting his degree, and being able to go on for all of his artistic. But he's the ones that you'll know as designing Indiana Jones.
The ride.
And
he showed a cool footage of way back when they were interviewing guests and asking what they thought the Indiana Jones ride would be.
It was just funny.
It was
something
funny.
About a big ball rolling. It was always coming up.
And the pit of snakes.
And a pit of snakes, yes.
And so it ended up being what people had thought that Indiana Jones was from that research. And he talked about one of my favorites.
Yeah.
My other favorite thing is Figment of the Imagination. I love Figment. Not everybody's on the same boat, and I will clarify when I say that, because I love classic Figment.
And what Kim's talking about is the original ride. He created the original ride and all the original characters.
And he told us about the thought process that went into making Figment, and how originally Figment was going to be a green dragon.
But Kodak was the sponsor of Figment, and green was Fujifilm's color, and they did not like the color.
So he had to come back and come up with other colors, and there was Figment. And
so Figment, he ended up coloring purple, but his vest was yellow and orange, colors of Kodak.
With Figment, I was really fascinated to hear the story. And then the Imagination Pavilion was supposed to be all crystals. And so he had to come back to Kodak to put in a story of how that would tie into the land. And
there's a certain type of crystal they used in crystal polymer that they used in developing film at the time. So that's how he sold it to him.
Which was amazing that he came up with that idea. And like I said, I'm a big fan of the original Figment ride. And later on, it was kind of funny, we were waiting to go to dinner and walking around the ship, and we bumped into Tony Baxter, and I kind of had a little fangirl moment, and it was freaky out because Figment is near and dear to my heart. That is the first ride I ever remember at Walt Disney World when I was 4 years old. And so I told him that. We got talking. I said, I love Figment, and I really wish we could go back to the old ride. And he said, next time you're at Walt Disney World, stop by City Hall and tell them that. So maybe if there's enough of us that like Figment, they'll do that. Okay, so sorry, I had to go off on my Figment stuff. We also ran into Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy. Literally like 2 minutes after we ran into Tony Baxter in the same hallway, and it was amazing, and we had a little chat with him, and he was wonderful. Yeah, and this thing about this cruise, like we said earlier, that you'll run into these people. They'll be walking across around the ship, and you'll just run in and say hi. Executives, anybody you could imagine that's here that is scheduled to speak, you can run into. Yeah. So it's a nice thing, and they're all very friendly, been very nice and extremely kind. So anyways, we got ready for dinner, and we went out to see the show tonight, which was DiCapella. It was good. They have very good voices. The beatboxing, everything was good. They did a mashup of like attraction rides, and I liked that probably the Disneyland. Best. So it was very good. It was, just basically them singing and doing a little bit of dancing, not a whole full-blown show like Frozen is, or which we're hoping, and we've been told, we'll get to see tomorrow. Yeah, so that's another great thing about being on a DVC cruise. They heard back that some of us, not us, we didn't say anything, but I guess some guests had said they were kind of upset. They were kind of disappointed that they didn't get to see Frozen while we were on here expecting to, and that was the big show of the week. And again, that was and this can happen to any Disney cruise, to the weather. We're, as you can see, moving, and it was that way, the same way that day. And they have to look out for the safety of their performers, which I understand. So they are just tonight announced that they're going to show that at 9 o'clock in the morning for everyone. When we're in port, so the waters will be calm, they'll be able to do it. Before we disembark to go on excursions. So, and tomorrow is going to be Victoria, so. Yeah, so after that, we went to dinner, and it was really, we had a good time. We have really great table mates. Disney did a good job of pairing us up. We went to dinner at Triton's, which was I liked the meal. Yeah, it was really good. We started off with the crab, and I started off with 2. So I had 2 as well. Sorry. Some of them looked really good, so we wanted to try. And that's a great thing about cruising. You just go to your circle, hey, I like to do, and they're like, oh, no problem. Yeah, I think most of our table mates had 2 appetizers tonight too. So I had the shrimp and lobster, which was good. The shrimp was good. Kim ate my lobster. I'm not It was like they did like a small slice that was this big that they sliced this way, so it wasn't what I expected.
It wasn't like a lobster tail or anything like that. No.
So I was a little surprised because that's what I was expecting. It's like
they took a slice of the claw and just put it on there, and that's pretty much.
Yeah.
So and then what was the other thing I had?
You had the baked brie.
Baked brie. The baked brie was actually really good.
It
wasn't like the baked brie I had last time in that weird funky dish. This time it was actually looked like mozzarella sticks, as you can see in the video. It was really creamy inside. It was really good.
And the other thing is, I had escargot. It was a little disappointing.
Oh.
I like escargot, and I like the one at Le Chef de France in Epcot better.
Okay.
So if I went between the two appetizers, I probably was just stuck. Actually, I probably would have ordered the baked brie, like Brad.
And it was really good.
And then I had Walt's Way, and I got the lamb, and it was really good.
And I got I can't remember, it was the sirloin steak slices, and that was really good as well. And Kim tried it right in mine.
It was really good. And then we had dessert.
Yes. And again, we ordered 2.
Yeah, So I got the Grand Marnier souffle. It was too rich for me, not a flavor I cared for, but I could see how others would like it. And then I got the opera cake, which was really good and really rich, and I think I preferred that one.
And I ended up getting the strawberry shortcake, which was basically a kind of like the strawberry shortcake, but in a sundae dish with ice cream. It was okay. It wasn't exciting. It was
really, because it looked really good.
No, it was.
We didn't even talk about this up to this moment because we were just busy.
It was good. It wasn't exciting. And then the other dish I got was the creme brulee.
Okay.
It was the Tahitian creme brulee, which was really good. And I like creme brulee, and that was really good.
Okay. Then after dinner, we walked over and we saw a show that I was really excited to see because it's kind of nostalgic Disneyland. It's called Walt Disney's Disneyland. And so that, definitely growing up in Disneyland, hearing stories of my parents growing up when it opened, it definitely resonates deep with me, something that I relate to and something that means a lot to me and other Disney fans.
Yeah, it's really cool. It was done by the one again.
So there's Chris Nichols has a new book that's called Walt Disney's Disneyland, and it's about the history of Disneyland. And
if for those that are not LA natives, he does LA Weekly.
No, I think. Yeah, he does.
He does LA Weekly. He does like write-ups of different historical items in LA. So he's he's an LA historian.
And then he was joined again with Tony Baxter, and they were joined with Tim O'Day. So the three of them were talking about the opening of Disneyland when they're making the book about how they went into the vault of opening day. And they showed us clips of opening day, but they have gone back and added color to it.
Well, no, they didn't add color. These were actually ones that were filmed in color that were never shown to the public.
But they remastered it somehow.
So, yeah, they went through and cleaned them up and made sure they were for the digital. And quite frankly, the pictures were so much clearer than what you saw from the original Time Vault of Disney.
They're beautiful.
And and they went through and they also found bloopers from
opening day. They showed a reporter who was supposed to go on air, and he's making out with a woman, and all of a sudden, like, oops. And
one reporter totally forgetting his kids' names.
Yeah.
Totally forgot his kids' own names right when he was doing it right. It was just funny.
And it was showing at one point Walt going through Disneyland, signing autographs, and he asked somebody to hold his popcorn.
Well, that wasn't opening day.
No, it wasn't opening day. It was another day.
This was at the ending. They showed this is where they did Disney at night. And they would have bands playing and everything else. And he was showing the fact that it was a younger crowd at night to come out to Disney for the teenage crowd.
And then, so basically, he handed somebody his popcorn to sign a hat or whatever, and they walk away with this popcorn, and later hand him back, and he goes to sign the box, but then he realizes it's popcorn. It was funny.
Yeah.
And then one man kept coming back to have different hats signed by him. And then finally he kind of joked with her. It was one lady, but he was joking with her. Like, how many hats do you have?
Yeah, so it was really interesting, and then we're back in our room. There is one thing I do not know if I talked about, though, when we talked about the original lecture, and I just thought about it.
What?
The original lecture with Tony Baxter, when he's talking about the rides, he started talking about something about Discovery Bay.
Oh, okay, earlier today. I
Yeah.
thought we were talking like days before. Okay.
So Discovery Bay has been talked about, and I've seen it on YouTube, about the different incarnations of what people think it is. He
showed us the drawings and talked about the history because that was a big project.
Yeah, and is it Tony Baxter?
I think he knew the person that was gonna. I can't remember.
Yeah, he knew who did his mentor was the one who did all of this. So originally that where we see
Galaxy's
Edges and beyond.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be this bay. It was supposed to be inspired by 20 Leagues Under the Sea, Jules Verne, and all this different stuff. And these were projects that never became to fruition or came to light.
Kind of.
Well, we'll explain.
Yeah.
They didn't come to light, and we've seen this talked about with Discovery Bay with Long Beach. Mm-hmm. So follow the connections here. So they went through all this, and they saw the art. They had everything ready to go, and Disney decided not to do any more Jules Verne's movies. So
and they just decided to floor the whole project.
They floor the whole project. Well, as Disney is, as you see, different projects ended up popping up. Well, it did come into the Long Beach area when they had that area and wanted to do it. It wasn't feasible for Disney to do it. They decided not to do it. It wasn't economically feasible for them to do it at the time because the scale of the budgets in both of these projects, this is what killed it too. They were just so expensive to do.
Yeah.
So it come around one more time, and it did survive. And
in a way,
and the parts of that thing or of that park is in Tokyo Disney in the volcano.
In this Tokyo Sea. So it's they used that and the Nautilus over there. All these drawings and artwork ended up more becoming to life over at Tokyo Sea.
And then also they did use another portion of it in Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
With the Nautilus in front and for the executives. So is one of these things that show you that they don't truly ever throw out a good design, that they will reuse it. And people always theorize about, they were going to do this, and they were. But it always came down to money. And it's something that I really wanted to explain and make sure that we got.
And clarify.
Right.
So, I don't think, did we talk about? No, we didn't. And he also gave us a little teaser about Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
And that teaser being from Star Tours, the ride.
There was a certain robot pilot I remember. I had that little visor go up. It was his first Star Tour too. What was his name? Rex. He's back.
And he's gonna be popping up at a new land.
Yes, Galaxy's Edge is what we've been told. And we apparently are the first to hear this, so this is all new. So we're gonna have a field day with that. Yes. So be on the lookout for Rex at Galaxy's Edge for all you Star Tours fans.
Yeah. But it was kind of fun to hear that, and they're like, and for a moment the execs were like, "Whew, thank goodness we're at sea," but that's gonna get out so quickly. Okay. And that's why we decided to share, because we know that is going to leave the room immediately.
And the reason he brought this up is he was talking about how everything in Disneyland that he designed would go back to the original rides that would be in his design. So there'd be an element from that original ride in that land. Another thing is the roller coaster that he worked on was Big Thunder Mountain. So he put a set in from the old Disney train. I went around and asked his artist to fit it into that design. So the backdrops of those old buildings were actually the town originally the old Disney train went through. So they're being used. Yeah. So this is what he explained. This is when he brought in Rex.
I am so amazed at all the things that we're hearing and learning. Yes. And it makes me not want to ever miss another member cruise. But we haven't won the lottery.
Yeah. So
just because they have another DVC cruise coming up in the fall. I would love to go.
Yeah, and what, the one then going to Alaska
is sold out.
Sold out.
And I overheard the execs talking, and I heard them say that it sold out in 3 hours.
So that's impressive. So with that, we should be closing our day.
Yes.
And we'll get back to you tomorrow with another busy day.
Yeah.
In Victoria, British
Yes.
Columbia.
Okay.
So with that, we're going to have to say,
Find your magic.
Good night, everybody.
Night.